have the Brotherhood of Steel, a symbol of camaraderie, preservation, and sheer power. Aspiring for a world where nobody can wrong humanity like it was all those years ago when the bombs fell. This faction is one of, if not the most recognizable faction in the entire franchise. While this faction is a powerhouse, the path they walk right now will lead to their inevitable downfall as the heroes and saviors that they claim to be. This video is not going to be a history video. Let me make that clear. If you want to see a history video on the Brotherhood of Steel, I'll have some linked down below that I think that you would enjoy. This video is more so going to be a coverage of the different morals of the Brotherhood of Steel and how they've developed throughout their time in the Wasteland. Alrighty, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the video, or I guess I should say Salisbury steak and Instamash, we need to look at the Brotherhood as a whole. This faction was found all the way back in the first game and it has continued to show itself as a powerhouse throughout the series. According to the original game, this faction was first recorded in 2314, almost 60 years after the bombs dropped. A group of soldiers disgusted by the FEV virus and its subsequent creations ended up starting the faction as a way to fight against the wrongs of mankind. Fun fact for you, the first soldiers who started this faction actually defected days before the bombs fell, making this the only faction that I'm aware of in the Fallout universe that existed before the Wasteland was created. Now, despite the power their tin can suits gave them, they found it quite difficult to spread their influence as quickly as they would have liked. The faction functions as almost a militaristic one, recruiting soldiers with the claim of giving yourself to something bigger, something better than those scavengers wasting away looking for relics. You climb the ranks through your sacrifice to the faction, and it's actually the main motivation for Max in the Prime series, at least in the beginning. His character is a good representation of a typical Brotherhood soldier, and I actually will have a video analyzing him linked down below as well. These ranks served as a way to apply pre-war ideas to the faction as well as set up a ladder used to motivate their soldiers. Almost all who start in the Brotherhood either begin as initiates or scribes, training to work in the field or to continue gathering knowledge on pre-war technology. They are at the bottom of the totem pole at this point. Initiates usually are trying to become knights, but some will pursue a career in aviation, becoming lancers after extensive training, ensuring only the best pilots for the Brotherhood. Let's say you're an initiate and you managed not to die during your first time as a squire for a knight. Congratulations! You served your time and now you earned yourself a fancy new rank and an indestructible suit. Mostly. You now have a new boss called a paladin. You can become a paladin too if you live long enough. Only after you become a paladin are you actually likely to become an elder. These guys run the show and are often the ones making the hard decisions for the faction. As impossible as it may sound to climb the ranks and survive, Bethesda wanted to show it's possible, hence Arthur was created. Arthur Maxson is a character from Fallout 3 and 4 who we see grow up like a few other characters in the series, such as MacCready. We are introduced to him as a child squire in the Citadel, and he eventually climbs the ranks to become an elder of the faction. Because these elders each have different experiences as they climb the ranks, many elders have different beliefs, making the overall direction of the Brotherhood a little bit of a zigzag. Their plans on how to progress are often as straight as my gay cousin I see every holiday. Thanks to the beliefs of the elders being changed so often every time a new elder is anointed, I guess is the best word. We're talking about knights here, I guess. Brotherhood wastes a lot of time and resources simply fighting itself. This inner turmoil leads to a lot of unrest amongst its members, and it can be easily seen in full force in Fallout 3. Now, although I realize this only represents a small snippet of time in the faction, it still represents the overall turmoil and unrest that the faction can easily fall into. How can a faction at war with itself be the saviors of the wasteland?
We're dedicated to rebuilding society and preserving old technology, keeping the mistakes of the past from being repeated, you know?
Ever since the Brotherhood started, there has been this key motivation to focus on humanity's hubris, what we have dared to do that should never have been done. There was a line drawn in the sand and we crossed it, and now we've paid the price. As mentioned earlier, the main reason the Brotherhood started was out of this disgust for the FEV virus. These soldiers, after years and years of work, eventually grew the faction to what it is today, and their morals and ideas have become ingrained in how the Brotherhood operates, even down to their rankings. The idea that the Brotherhood needed to have names such as Knights and Paladins is actually referenced in the games, and it's shown that these rankings are simply there to give the Brotherhood a new feel, to differentiate themselves from other factions in the Wasteland. Now, the Brotherhood focuses on the preservation of pre-war lifestyles and artifacts above all else. It also focuses on the preservation of the humanity of the settlers around them. We all know how much the Brotherhood loves diversity. Brotherhood soldiers are ordered to mow down any feral ghouls that they find, and even when they see regular ghouls who haven't gone feral, they still approach them with a gun raised. Ghouls are seen as untrustworthy, and it's just a sign of how far humanity has fallen in the eyes of the Brotherhood. Even when it comes to settlers, the Brotherhood is always on guard because humanity cannot be trusted. This has been proven, and they will always think of that whenever they see someone who isn't part of their ranks. Let's say you manage to settle down, find a wife or husband, have a few kids, and you make yourself a farm. You manage to fight off the occasional Mirelurk and the raiders. Although you have to pay them a couple caps every so often, they leave you alone. But soon you see a giant blimp in the sky, and not long after you see the Vault Dweller, asking you to give up your crop to feed the Brotherhood. Now, the Brotherhood must be fed by any means necessary. This shows the question of morality for the Brotherhood. It's not a bad thing that they have to take your crops because it's the Brotherhood. They're trying to forward humanity. They're trying to save humanity from itself. Therefore, it's okay if you have to skip a meal or two because you're helping the Brotherhood. Thanks to the introduction of the synths in Fallout 4, we can expect the Brotherhood to be a bit more cautious in the future, especially further down the line, because a synth infiltrated them without even knowing it, seemingly. This shows that the Brotherhood can be infiltrated by anyone, and it's only fair that the Brotherhood would increase their security and screening of the members that they find. Paladin Dance's story actually shows how odd the morals are in the faction, in Fallout 4 at least. Despite Dance's extreme loyalty to the faction, Elder Maxon still orders you to kill him. If you find him and decide not to, he'll be waiting outside the bunker you find Dance in and will kill him himself, unless you pass a charisma check. Even then, he warns you that you will be killed on sight by any Brotherhood member if you are seen with Dance again. Although I can understand the caution with the synths, I never understood how Maxon could be so untrusting of your decision-making. If he was this untrusting, why did he send you to kill Dance? I know he didn't just fly out on the vertibird because he felt like it.
Get in, loser, we're going shopping.
This lack of trust shows you how odd the morals really are in the Brotherhood, especially if the elder of the faction expects you to question them, enough so that he flies out to personally ensure that you follow through on your orders. The Brotherhood serves to protect humanity, but it's okay for a few settlers to starve in order to feed the Brotherhood, because they're the saviors of humanity. It's okay to kill one of your most loyal and dedicated soldiers without a second thought, because it's only one person in the faction. It's okay to take over towns and settlements, because they're humanity's last hope. This is the flaw in the Brotherhood. They excuse many objectively bad things because it's forwarding their own ideas and supports their cause in some way, even if they have to take those actions using force. This is what turns away many people that I've talked to play Fallout from the Brotherhood. The willingness to turn against your own so quickly reminds me of a certain group. Both take what they want with power, and the Brotherhood just claims to be helping you as they take over your settlement, claim your crops, and leave you to starve. So it's pretty easy to see that the Brotherhood is trying to better humanity in their own way. This task of hoarding all the pre-war technology is practically impossible, but let's say they somehow manage it. Across all their different hangars and compounds, every toaster from America sits. What now? Originally, my thought was that the Brotherhood would turn towards researching these artifacts more, but we already have scribes doing that. It's clear how curious they are to progress their current state thanks to the Amazon Prime show. They are one of the many factions after this cold fusion power, and at the end of season 1, they end up claiming it after a very bloody battle with the NCR. As the show releases, we'll understand a bit more about how that side of the faction operates. Personally, I believe that they will most likely continue to use this power for their own operations and not give any to the people. Even if they somehow manage to collect every circuit board and hot plate, they still will not find it enough. Because of the militaristic ideas behind this faction, the next idea would be to take away power from the people and to leave their trust in the Brotherhood. Weapons would be confiscated in the name of safety, while knights were left to guard towns as the only defense. This power that the Brotherhood claims to hold for the people would in fact turn against those it claims to protect. After all, humanity has shown it can't be trusted. Therefore, the Brotherhood needs to step in. Later in the timeline, after Fallout 4, the faction will most likely continue their research. This faction isn't disappearing from the franchise anytime soon, and is most likely going to come back in the newest game. As one of the most recognizable factions, Bethesda will try to shoehorn it into every game they release just for the callback. With a Fallout 5 hopefully going into development soon, it'll be interesting to see where they go with this faction.
What in the goddamn?
For now, I think I'm just going to stick with the Minutemen.